Hi Greedy 3Ders. I've been asked in one of my other videos if I would just talk you through the process of some manual settings in the blueprint slicing software for the HeyGears Ultracraft Reflex printers. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to show you a couple of things you can do within the slicer that you don't necessarily need to use the auto one-click slice to do. These will be manual things like hollowing and adding holes, etc. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. So I'm going to talk you through the blueprint slicer, which is the specific slicer to use with the Ultracraft Reflex products. You cannot use this slicer with any other printer. It's got to be with those two printers. When you first open the slicer up, this is what you will be presented with. This is of course when you've registered and logged in your machines, etc. Left hand side we've got slicer, and there we can add new files. We've got the dashboard, which is what you're looking at now. We've got all the files that you've sliced in your library. We've got any jobs that you're about to send or have sent to your printer, and we've got your devices that you have told it that you are logged into. This will include your printers, wash stations and curing stations. Today, for simplicity, what we're going to do is we're going to add a file. So the first thing we're going to do is click the little add slicer option at the top there. And here you can see you've got three options. You can either open a project you're already working on, you can have a new project that will save it locally on your computer, or a new cloud project that will save it in the cloud. I usually select new projects here. Your next screen then will ask you which printer you've got. Now if you've got two printers, tell it which one it is. If you've only got one, then select that by default. I'm going to select the Ultracraft Reflex RS on this occasion. Your next option will be, do you have a pulsing release module or not? If you haven't, obviously you don't click that you have, but I have got one, so I will be clicking that option. Next, it'll tell me what kind of resin do you want to use. I'm going to select general purpose and choose my resin. Now, I'm not going to harp on about these resins because, as you know, you can use pretty much any resin with them. But I am going to be using the PARP 10 resin for this print. So I'm going to click on the PARP 10, and then I can choose whether I want it at 50 microns or 30 microns. And I'm going to say 50 microns. Once you've chosen everything, you next click confirm and you're into the main slicer. So you can see you can straight away, it's asking you, do you want to drop files in? Well, we'll come back to that a little bit later. Let's just have a look at this. The first thing I'm going to do is just drag a file in, because it would be it opens options up for you if you drag a file in. So let me drag a file in. I'm going to just click this little button over here on the left that says import. Then I'm going to tell it what I'm looking for. I'm going to be using something from my desktop, which will be this file here. And I'm just going to bring in one of the files. I'm just going to double click it there, and it will bring it in to the slicer and drop it on your build plate like any other slicer. And there we go. Right mouse click, if you hold down, will allow you to move the plate around. If you use your scroll wheel, you can zoom in and you can zoom out. The left mouse, if you hold it in, will move the building platform around a little bit. So now we've dragged a model in, you can see there's some options on the left hand side. Let's just go quickly through them. So when you click on orient at the top, it's orientation. It will give you a couple of options, and those are the options that it allows you to change if you just look through them there. If we just have a look at minimize print time and confirm, what happens to your model is it'll move it into a position that will minimize the printing options. Now you can use this, but I suggest you just use it with caution, because if I was to print this face in that orientation, although it might be the shortest print time, as you can see, I'd get a load of supports on the face here. So some things like faces especially, I will orientate manually, and we will come back to that. Place on the floor will allow it to drop down to the build plate if it's sitting high up here somewhere and floating. Move, it will allow you to move it around, but it will pop some arrows on to let you move. And if I just lift it up a little bit and go back to place on the floor, that's what it will do. Rotate speaks for itself really. You've got some rotation you can either do manually there, or if you really want to, you can change the degrees and the angles, etc. You've got scale, where you can make things bigger or smaller at each time you need to select the model. I forgot to say that. So if you want to make it bigger, you can either drag it, or you can change the setting there too. And I'm just going to type in 100 to put it back to where it was. There you go. you've got scale to fit. If you've got a really big model, this will automatically scale it to fit your build plate, the same as most other slicers that you use. We'll be using hollow, and we'll be using whole in a bit. Split will allow you to split the model if it's got parts in there that would normally split. If it's been put together in 3 different pieces, you can split it, and you can label each part or clone it if you want 2 heads, for example. If I click the head and say clone and confirm, it'll put another one on there. If you want to get rid of it, just click the head and click delete. So now we've got that model on there. There's a couple of things I just want to do with this. I want to change the scale first and foremost. So I'm going to choose scale, and I'm going to whoop this up to 150%. So 150, and press return on the keyboard, and voila, it does it automatically for you. So that's the first thing. Next thing I'm going to do is orientate it into a position that I want it. So I'm going to go to rotate, select the model first, rotate. Now all I'm going to do is twist it round until it's in a position where I feel it will be in the best position to print, which for me would be that position there, as you can see. And the next thing I'm going to do is hollow it out and add some holes in. Select the model and select hollow. What you'll get then is wall thickness, which you can change using the little arrows. You can choose to have it filled with supports or have a lattice infill. That is your choice. I always leave it on infill with supports, but that may be not what you want. Once you've selected which option you want, and for me I just use default settings, I click hollow, and this model will then hollow out. And this little drop down on the side here, you can pull down and it will show you the inside of the model there. Now if you want to reduce the wall thickness, you can. If you want to make it thicker, you can. I'm just using it as its standard setting. Obviously we've hollowed it, so we need to add some holes in. So we're going to choose hole. The model is selected, and there you've got certain options you can choose from. Do you want a round hole? Do you want a square or hexagon or truncated? We're just going to leave it at round. You can change the hole diameter, the hole depth. You can make it perpendicular to the model. You can penetrate through. You can keep the little pegs similar to other ones. When you click that, when you put the hole out, it will make a little peg somewhere that you can fit back in. I never use that, to be absolutely honest. Now for this model, I'm going to just increase the size of the hole to 4mm. There we go, and I'm going to tell it hole. Then you get 2 options on the left, confirm and cancel. We'll come back to those. What you want to do next is when you hold it over, the mouse that is, over the actual model, you can see that the hole option will show you where it's going to go in. Now obviously we don't want to go straight through the model there, and we know it's not going to come any higher than the neckline, so I am just going to add a hole there. I'm going to go to the other side, and I'm going to add a hole there, and I'm going to go to the back and add a hole there. Now as you can see, it's just like that at the moment. It doesn't put any holes in, and it won't put any holes in until I tell it to confirm. And when I do that, next we will get the holes appear, and you can have a look at this stage whether the holes are where you want them or whether you've gone a little bit too far and they've gone through the model. Now I'm quite happy with that. I'm ecstatic with where those holes are. They will do the trick. The next thing we're going to do is look at the top here, and we're going to click across on support. Now the obvious way to support it and the easiest way is just to use auto support, so I'm just going to click that to show you how easy it is. Those are the options you get. You can change them if you wish. You can fiddle with them as much as you want. You can go into advanced settings and play with them. I tend not to touch anything. I just literally click auto support, so I've selected the model of course, and tell it to generate. And what that will do is it will look at its wizardry AI jiggery pokery and add supports that will support your model through the printing process. And there we go. Now if you want to add supports manually, then it's the same process whether you do them with the auto supports or without. And what you will do, we'll do them first of all with the auto supports because we've got them there of course. Just click on the model, click on manual supports, and literally just hold your mouse on there where you want the support to be and click it, and the support will be added. As you can see, it's as simple as that. And the last one that you've added is in a light green colour so you can see it. On the left hand side, if you want to change everything about them, if you want to change all sorts of bits and pieces, you can do it. I don't recommend you change anything, I really don't. I just leave it at standard. I don't tend to use manual supports, but you may want to, and if you want to use them, it's as simple as that. Now let's say you just want to use manual supports and you don't want to use any of the supports at all. Let's get the supports off. There we go. So now there's no supports. Choose manual support, model first, manual supports, and literally support away. If you look at the bottom of the model, you can see where the supports are recommended, because those are the areas that are like little islands that probably will not print without supports in situ, and that is how you add supports. I'm just going to go back to auto support, because I think that's the way I'm going to move forward with my model here. And there you go, auto supports are added. At this stage, if you want to move it around the build plate, just go back to prepare and go to move, and just move the model to where you want to put it. Exactly the same as other slicers. If at this stage, however, you want to rotate it, then it will ask you to remove the supports first, because if you want to rotate it, you can't use the supports that it's already worked out. So we're going to put it in the position that we want to put it, and there we go. Now let's say that's one piece done and dusted. Let's say you want to do a few pieces. So let me just go to my file here, and I'm going to add a few pieces in. And there they are. Now what I want to do with these pieces as well is, well, some of those are going to fit on the build plate, some of them are probably not. So I'm just going to have a little look at the orientate button here. Now what I want to do is select all. The way I select all of my models is I press Control and A, it selects them all, and then I'll tell it to orientate, and it will move them into a position on the build plate that it feels are the best position for the printing of them. Now personally, I don't tend to like the auto placing of things like heads, because it places them face down. So you're probably going to need to do this a little bit more manually to make sure that they're in the right position. Sometimes, for example, with the hammer, I'd be all right with the hammer there. I've got no problem with that. Even with the armour to a point, I've got no real dramas with where it's put this bit of armour, but I just want to fiddle them around a bit. So what I'm going to do now is just spend a couple of minutes just moving them around into where I want them. So all I'm going to do is choose the model I want and then move them around and rotate them into position. It's really, really simple, just using the buttons on the left hand side to move them around to where I want them. And let's move them here. So now I've got everything on the build plate and everything is where I want it to be, and I'm happy with the position that everything is in. To select all models, Control and A, and I'm going to select support and auto support. Same as before, and now the system will support everything in situ where you've put it, and it will support everything as it feels it needs to. Now when we've finished doing all that, we're going to have a quick look at it, and if there's any parts of it that have the red overhang, that means that you're not on the build plate, and all you need to do is go into prepare, click on the model, and you can move it around again and put it in a position that you want to do. And if there's more room on the build plate and you want to add more things, you can, or if you want to take things off, then you can. It is as simple as literally clicking them and just moving them around. When you are happy with where everything is, and for argument's sake we'll say that we're happy, the next stage would be the ignore the layout. You don't need to mess with that auto layout. If you click it, I'll just show you what it does. So let me select all. It will move them around automatically and try to find the best position for them. But what sometimes happens is, as you can see here, it says there's not enough room, but obviously we know there is, so we're going to go back. There we go. So we're going to miss layout and go straight to slice. And when you click on slice, you can choose anything you want to do there. What I would always suggest is your Z compensation and your anti-aliasing are on. Name it as you want to name it. I would just call this Wargamer, and we're going to select slice, and then the system will slice this for you, and it will move across to a different screen. It'll do the slicing, and what you can do while it's slicing, which is really good, is start a brand new project. And if you want to tell it to use exactly the same settings that you've used before, just tell it to use recently used setup, and it selects everything you've just used, confirm, and while it's slicing you can add a new project in and start a new project. It will do 2 in 1 for you, which I think is a great addition. Once it's sliced, we'll go back to it now. So if we look at slice files, we can see that this model is still slicing. If we click on dashboard over on the right here, we can see that this model is still slicing. Now this will take a little bit of time to work, so we'll just wait for that to finish slicing. So once everything is sliced, you'll get a visual representation of what you have sliced. Now just for clarity, if you're wondering why it looks a little bit different, I've just added a couple of extra pieces in there. Same process, I've hollowed them and I've sliced them, and it's ready to go across to my Ultracraft Reflex RS. And the way you send it across with the reflex on is you just press across, send. It is as simple as that. 2 options will appear: send it via cloud or send it via LAN. Local area network is what I'm going to choose, LAN, and I'm going to click it across, and you will see how big the file is, and it will show you the process of it sending it across megabyte by megabyte. And there we can see that the file has gone across to the printer. So we'll go over to the printer and show you what the next step is. Now of course make sure your printer is turned on, make sure it's got the latest firmware update, and I'm going to use some of this Syria Tech resin poured in. Go to the main screen, on the left you will see job list, and the file that you sent across should be there. Just select print, and it will do a few things in the background, checking the environment. If you're using the pulse release module, it will check atmospheric pressure, etc. If you get any warnings along those lines, just press continue. It will self-level and it will start the printing process. Hope you found that interesting, greedy 3Ders. I hope you found some bits of that information useful. If there's anything else you want me to talk to regarding the blueprint slicing software or the HeyGears Ultracraft Reflex printers, I'll quite happily do it. Let me know in the comments below. If you want to support the channel, a couple of ways you can do that. Please subscribe to the channel, think about joining the Greedy 3D Patreon, and thank you to my existing Patreons. Or if you want to buy anything from the channel, sort of printers or paints or anything, there's an affiliate link list below in the description, and a little bit will kick back to this little old channel and let me carry on doing what I do for you. Anything else you want me to do, you just let me know.